She walks the line on a narrow street, Santiago's heat on her restless feet. Words like fire burn the air they meet. Truth speaker, she don't bow or retreat. Maria, Maria.
Trump's racist rants can't hide America's real issues. Oh, buckle up, folks, because we're diving into the hot mess that is racism in America. And guess who's been fanning the flames? That's right, the orange-tinted, self-proclaimed genius, Donald J. Trump. This guy's got a knack for spewing divisive nonsense faster than you can say fake news. From his very fine people on both sides of a white supremacist rally in Charlottesville to his obsession with calling everything he doesn't like woke, Trump's been serving up racism with a side of fries for years. And MAGA, don't even try to spin this. I'm not here for your. He's just misunderstood claptrap. I'm laying it out, and it's uglier than Trump's comb-over in a windstorm. Racism in America isn't some new kid on the block. It's been here, rooted deep, since the country was just a twinkle in a colonizer's eye. We're talking systemic, institutional, and good all-in-your-face individual racism. Systemic racism. That's the sneaky stuff baked into the system. Think redlining that kept black families out of neighborhoods, or job discrimination that still screws over qualified folks because of their skin color. Institutional. Look at the criminal justice system, where black Americans are incarcerated at 5 times the rate of whites, according to the NAACP. And individual, that's your Karen in the wild yelling at someone for speaking Spanish at the grocery store. Progress? Sure, we've had some. The civil rights movement of the 1960s smashed down some barriers, and we've seen leaders like Barack Obama break ceilings. But let's not kid ourselves, America's still got a long way to go. MAGA, you can clutch your pearls and scream, CRT is evil. But facts don't care about your feelings, and I'm not debating this. I'm just roasting Trump's sorry excuse for leadership while you're still buying his gold-plated coins. Now, let's talk about Trump's greatest hits of racial dog whistling. Remember when he called Mexican immigrants rapists and criminals back in 2015? Or when he banned Muslims from entering the country, claiming it was about security? Yeah, sure, Don, because nothing screams safety like targeting entire groups based on their religion or ethnicity. And don't forget his 2020 debate gem, telling the Proud Boys to stand back and stand by. Those are the same guys who stormed the Capitol, by the way, real patriots, huh? According to a 2021 report from the Southern Poverty Law Center, hate groups surged during Trump's presidency, with 838 active groups by 2020. Coincidence? I think not. He's been pouring gasoline on America's racial divides, then acting shocked when it catches fire. Meanwhile, he's out here claiming he's the least racist person ever. Oh, honey, that's like saying I'm the best at quantum physics because I watched a YouTube video once. MAGA, don't come at me with your he loves everybody nonsense. I'm not here to argue, I'm just serving up the truth with a side of shade. But let's zoom out. Racism isn't just Trump's loudmouth antics, it's woven into the fabric of America. Racial profiling. Still a thing. Black drivers are more likely to be stopped and searched, yet less likely to have contraband than white drivers, per a 2020 Stanford study. The criminal justice system? A mess. Black Americans face longer sentences for the same crimes as whites. Check the Sentencing Project's 2017 report if you don't believe me. Education. Schools in predominantly Black and Hispanic areas get less funding, leading to worse outcomes, says the Education Trust. Healthcare. Black patients are less likely to get proper treatment for pain or chronic conditions, according to the CDC. These aren't opinions, these are cold, hard stats. Trump's not the root of all this, but he's sure not helping. Instead, he's busy whining about critical race theory like it's the boogeyman. Newsflash, Don. Acknowledging history isn't the problem. You are MAGA. You can cry America first, all you want, but I'm not debating facts. I'm just laughing as your boy fumbles his way through another racist rant. So, what's the fix? It's not just about dunking on Trump, though that's fun. It's about real change. Policy reform's a start. End mandatory minimums that disproportionately hit minorities, fund schools equitably, and enforce anti-discrimination laws with teeth. Community education's huge. Teach kids early that racism's a loser's game. Grassroots movements, like Black Lives Matter, keep the pressure on, while government initiatives, like Biden's 2021 executive order on racial equity, try to move the needle. But it's slow, messy work, and Trump's not making it easier with his build the wall tantrums. Conversations about race need to keep happening, open, honest, and uncomfortable. We're not post-racial just because we had a black president. America's got to face its demons, not hide behind Trump's MAGA hat. Oh, and MAGA, don't bother sliding into my comments with your. But what about reverse racism? Whining. I'm not here for it. I'm just cackling as Trump's legacy gets roasted harder than his spray tan. This fight's bigger than one loudmouth ex-president, though. It's about dismantling systems that have been screwing people over for centuries. Every step forward, like the Voting Rights Act or desegregation, gets met with pushback from folks who think equality's a zero-sum game. Spoiler, it's not. Lifting everyone up doesn't mean white folks lose, it means we all win. But Trump's out here stoking fear, not solutions, because that's his brand, chaos and division. He's not the only problem, but he's a walking, talking billboard for why we need to keep pushing for justice. The data's clear, the history's undeniable, and the work's far from done. So, MAGA, you can keep worshiping your golden calf, but I'm not debating this. I'm just sitting back, sipping coffee, and watching Trump's racist rhetoric crash and burn. And to wrap this up, let me be crystal clear. I'm not coming back to debate any of this with you MAGA folks. I don't need your permission to call out racism or Trump's nonsense. My opinion's out there, backed by facts, and I'm not here to argue with folks who think alternative facts are a personality trait. Deal with it. Trump's immigration policies. A dumpster fire of cruelty and chaos, all right. Folks, grab your popcorn because we're diving into the absolute train wreck that was Donald Trump's immigration policies. This guy strutted into the White House like he was auditioning for a dictator role in a B-movie, and his immigration agenda? A masterclass in cruelty, incompetence, and straight-up nonsense. From travel bans to ripping kids from their parents, Trump's playbook was less America first and more humanity last. Let's break down this clown show, piece by piece, and trust me, it's gonna be a wild ride. MAGA, don't even think about sliding into my DMs with your, but he's protecting us garbage. I'm not here to debate. I'm serving truth with a side of shade, and it's gonna burn. The travel ban. Xenophobia with a side of legal drama first up, Trump's infamous travel ban. This guy slapped a ban on several predominantly Muslim countries faster than you can say discrimination. The justification? National security. Of course, because apparently entire nations full of people are just itching to cause chaos. Never mind that the ban was so sloppy it got slapped with lawsuits left and right. The Supreme Court eventually upheld a watered-down version in 2018, but not before it sparked protests and left families stranded. According to the ACLU, the ban affected over 700 travelers detained or deported in its first days. Real classy, Don. This wasn't about security, it was about fear-mongering and pandering to his base. Oh, MAGA, you love waving your flags, but this ban was a middle finger to basic human decency. Don't try to argue, I'm not here for it, and your boy's policy got roasted harder than his steak preferences. Family separation. Tearing kids away like it's a game show, then there's the family separation policy, because nothing screams great leadership like ripping kids from their parents at the border. Under Trump's zero tolerance policy in 2017 and 2018, nearly 5,000 children were separated from their families, per the ACLU. Babies in cages, parents sobbing, and Trump's team acting like it was just another Tuesday. The administration claimed it was to deter illegal crossings, but let's call it what it was: heartless. The backlash was so fierce, ProPublica's leaked audio of crying kids went viral, that even Trump had to backpedal, signing an executive order to end it in June 2018. But here's the kicker. Up to 1,000 families are still separated, with no records to reunite them. Nice work, genius. MAGA, you can scream law and order all you want, But this was cruelty on steroids. I'm not debating you. This policy was a moral dumpster fire, and I'm just laughing as Trump's legacy gets dragged. The border wall. $1 billion ego trippo, and let's not forget the border wall, Trump's obsession that was less about security and more about stroking his ego. He promised Mexico would pay for it. Spoiler. They didn't. And instead, he threw a tantrum, shutting down the government for 35 days in 2018 to 2019 to squeeze $5.7 billion from Congress. According to the GAO, only 458 miles of wall were built, much of it replacing existing barriers, and smugglers were cutting through it like it was made of Play-Doh. Meanwhile, environmental damage and border communities got screwed. Trump's wall was less a fortress and more a monument to his own hype. MAGA, you bought into this pipe dream, but I'm not arguing over it. Your guy wasted billions on a glorified fence, and I'm just here cackling as it crumbles faster than his tanning spray. DACA, kicking dreamers to the curb next. Trump's attack on DACA, the program protecting roughly 580,000 young immigrants brought to the U.S. as kids. He tried to kill it in 2017, claiming it was illegal, but the Supreme Court blocked him in 2020, calling his move arbitrary and capricious. Classic Trump, big talk, no follow-through. These dreamers are doctors, teachers, and students, but Trump wanted them deported to countries they barely know. A 2023 Texas court ruling still threatens DACA, and Trump's back in 2025, itching to finish the job. Per the Center for American Progress, ending DACA would cost the U.S. $460 billion in GDP over a decade. But sure, Don, let's tank the economy for your anti-immigrant flex. MAGA, don't come at me with your their illegal nonsense. I'm not debating. I'm just roasting Trump's heartless crusade against kids who are more American than his imported suits. Public charge rule. Punishing the poor for existing, and then there's the public charge rule, Trump's sneaky way to make legal immigration harder for anyone who's not rich. Expanded in 2019, it basically said, if you might ever need food stamps or Medicaid, no visa for you. The Migration Policy Institute estimated it could affect millions, scaring immigrants away from benefits they're legally entitled to. Critics, including the Urban Institute, said it disproportionately hit low-income and minority communities, making it harder for families to stay together. Courts blocked parts of it, but not before it caused chaos. Trump's team claimed it was about self-sufficiency. But let's be real. It was about keeping out anyone who doesn't look like his Mar-a-Lago buddies. MAGA, you can cheer this all you want, but I'm not here to argue. This rule was a gut punch to the poor, and I'm just laughing as Trump's tough guy act gets exposed as pure cowardice. The bigger picture. A legacy of hate and incompetence. Trump's immigration policies weren't just policies, they were a vibe, and that vibe was hate. Human rights groups like Amnesty International called them cruel and unlawful. Immigrant advocates, Democrats, and even some Republicans pushed back, with figures like Mitt Romney criticizing the family separations. Yet Trump's base ate it up, praising him for securing the border and protecting America. From what, exactly? Kids fleeing violence, families trying to survive. His policies didn't make America safer. They made it meaner. The Washington Post reported in 2020 that Trump slashed legal immigration by half through bureaucratic backdoors, crippling the system for years. And now, in 2025, he's back with more, signing executive orders to block asylum, end birthright citizenship, and ramp up deportations, per Wikipedia. It's the same old song, just louder and dumber. MAGA, you can wave your flags, but I'm not debating. Your boy's policies are a masterclass in failure, and I'm just here sipping tea as his America First SH-stick flops, fighting back. Where do we go from here, so how do we fix this mess? It's not just about dunking on Trump, though, let's be honest, that's a blast. We need real change. End harsh policies like family separation for good. An 8-year ban was secured in 2023, but lawyers are ready if Trump tries to dodge it, per time. Protect DACA with legislation, not just court rulings, to give dreamers the stability they deserve. Reform the immigration system to prioritize humanity over bureaucracy. streamline legal pathways and ditch rules like public charge that punish the vulnerable. Grassroots movements, like United We Dream, are pushing hard, while Biden's 2021 equity orders tried to undo some of Trump's damage. But it's a slog, and Trump's chaos doesn't help. Conversations about immigration need to keep going honest, messy, and focused on justice. America's better than this, or at least it should be. MAGA, don't bother yelling at me. I'm not engaging. I'm just cackling as Trump's policies crash harder than his casino empire. This is my take, and I'm not coming back to debate any of it with you MAGA folks. I don't need your approval to call out Trump's cruel, incompetent immigration mess. My words are out there, backed by facts, and I'm standing by them while you're still chanting at his rallies. Trump's ICE nightmare. Detainees dying while he plays tough guy, all right. Buckle up, because we're diving into the absolute disaster that is Trump's immigration detention system in 2025. The guy's back in office, strutting around like he's the sheriff of a dystopian Western. But the body count in ICE custody is piling up faster than his failed casino debts. At least 16 people have died in immigration and customs enforcement, ICE, facilities since October 2024, making this fiscal year the deadliest since the COVID chaos of 2020. From shootings to suicides to straight-up neglect, it's a horror show, and Trump's policies are the ringmaster. MAGA, don't even start with your "he's keeping us safe" nonsense. I'm not here to debate. I'm roasting this clown show, and it's uglier than Trump's golf swing. The grim numbers. 16 dead and counting, let's lay it out. 16 detainees have died in ICE custody since the fiscal year kicked off on October 1, 2024. That's more than double the deaths in all of 2024, when only 7 people died, per ICE's own data. We're talking about real people here. Folks like Lorenzo Antonio Batres Vargas, a 32-year-old Mexican who died on August 31, 2025, likely from COVID complications, according to his family's fundraising page. Or Jesus Molina Vea, a 45-year-old Mexican who took his own life in Georgia's Stewart Detention Center on June 7. Then, there's Johnny Noviello, a 49-year-old Canadian who died in Miami on June 23, with his case still under investigation. And don't forget the Dallas shooting on September 24, where Joshua John opened fire from a rooftop, killing 1 detainee and wounding 2 others before offing himself. What's the common thread? Trump's ICE is a death trap. MAGA, you can wave your "build the wall" signs, but I'm not arguing. This is a humanitarian dumpster fire, and your boy's holding the match, a shooting in Dallas. Chaos on Trump's watch. Let's zoom in on that Dallas incident, because it's peak Trump-era insanity. On September 24, 2025, Joshua John decided to play sniper from a rooftop, targeting an ICE facility in Dallas. 1 detainee dead, 2 critically injured, and John took himself out before anyone could ask why. The FBI says he was driven by anti-ICE sentiment. But let's not kid ourselves. This kind of chaos doesn't happen in a vacuum. Trump's been fanning the flames of division, turning immigration into a culture war flashpoint. His border czar, Tom Homan, shrugged off another death by saying, "People die in ICE custody." Wow, real compassionate Tom. That's the kind of leadership that makes you wonder if they're running a detention center or a gladiator arena. MAGA, don't come at me with your "it's just one bad apple" excuse. I'm not debating. Your guy's policies are a magnet for tragedy, and I'm just cackling as his tough guy act implodes. Suicides and neglect. The ICE death spiral, it's not just shootings. The deaths in ICE custody read like a horror novel. Jesus Molina Vea, a Mexican national, was found unresponsive in his cell on June 7, 2025, at the Stewart Detention Center. Official ruling? Suicide. Kao Feng-ji, a Chinese detainee, died on August 5, cause still murky. Then there's Ismail Ayala Uribe, a 39-year-old former DACA recipient, who died on September 21 after begging for medical help at California's Adelanto facility. His family told the Los Angeles Times he got little more than Tylenol for coughing and fevers before dying while awaiting surgery. And Santos Bangas Reyes, a 42-year-old Honduran, died in Nassau County, New York, on September 26, with his family disputing ICE's claim of liver failure. The Marshall Project reports suicide attempts are spiking, with inadequate mental health care and horrendous conditions to blame. ICE claims they provide comprehensive medical care, but 16 deaths in 9 months says otherwise. MAGA, you can chant law and order till you're blue, but I'm not here for it. Trump's ICE is a death machine, and I'm just laughing as his secure border fantasy crumbles. Trump's policies. Fueling the fire, why is this happening? Trump's immigration crackdown is like pouring gasoline on a dumpster fire. He's pushed for record arrests. ICE detained over 61,000 people by August 2025, aiming for 3,000 arrests a day, per Visa Verge. That's 1 million a year, folks, many with no criminal record. Overcrowding, understaffing, and neglected medical care are the result, according to the Aklu Unischo, who told Newsweek these deaths were likely preventable. Trump's executive orders, like the one banning asylum and ending birthright citizenship, have turned detention centers into pressure cookers. A 2020 House committee report found for-profit facilities, which house most ICE detainees, skimp on care to cut costs. And now, with Trump back in 2025, it's worse. 16 deaths in 9 months compared to 26 over Biden's entire 4 years. MAGA, you can scream America first all you want, but I'm not debating. Your boy's turning ICE into a graveyard, and I'm just sipping coffee as his policies crash harder than his Twitter stock. The human cost. Real people, not aliens. Let's get real. These aren't just numbers. Lorenzo Batras Vargas was 32, called Lenchito, by his family, and died alone, likely from COVID without proper care. Ismail Ayala Uraib lived in California since childhood, worked 15 years at a car wash, and was detained in an August raid. His brother told the LA Times he begged for help, but ICE gave him Tylenol and let him die. Jesus Molina Vea, deported twice before, ended his life in despair. These are people, fathers, brothers, sons, not the criminal aliens Trump loves to demonize. Advocacy groups like the American Immigration Lawyers Association, AILA, say ICE's own standards, like medical screenings within 12 hours, are rarely met. El Pais reports rising suicide attempts due to miserable conditions. Trump's base might cheer his tough stance, but this is cruelty, not strength. MAGA, don't try your "they shouldn't have come here" nonsense. I'm not engaging. These deaths are on Trump's hands, and I'm just roasting his heartless circus, pushback, and promises. Too little, too late. Thankfully, some folks are calling this out. Senators John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock sent a letter to DHS and ICE, demanding answers about these deaths and what's being done. The Marshall Project notes Georgia's detention centers are particularly bad, with cases like a man dying awaiting surgery and a woman miscarrying. Advocacy groups are screaming for oversight, transparency, and an end to for-profit detention. ICE claims they're committed to humane environments, but 16 deaths say they're full of it. Meanwhile, Trump's border czar Tom Homan brushes off criticism, and Trump himself keeps pushing for mass deportations. Ayler reports show a pattern of neglect, solitary confinement for mental health crises, falsified medical records, and ignored cries for help. This isn't security. It's a humanitarian crisis. MAGA, you can keep praising your orange savior, but I'm not debating. Trump's ICE is a death trap, and I'm just laughing as his tough on immigration shtick gets exposed as a deadly scam, fixing this mess. Beyond Trump's tantrums, so what's the fix? First, shut down for-profit detention centers. They're cutting corners to save a buck, and people are dying. The 2020 House committee report called them out for inadequate care, and nothing's changed. Second, enforce ICE's own standards. Screenings, timely medical care, and mental health support aren't optional. Third, scale back this arrest frenzy. Detaining 61,000 people with no endgame is a recipe for disaster. Grassroots groups like United We Dream are pushing for reform, and Biden's 2021 equity orders tried to ease the cruelty, but Trump's undone that. We need legislation to protect vulnerable detainees, like DACA recipients, and prioritize humanity over fear-mongering. Conversations about immigration need to focus on facts, not Trump's invasion rhetoric. America can do better than this. MAGA, don't come at me with your deport them all noise. I'm not here for it. I'm just cackling as Trump's immigration legacy goes down in flames. This is my take, and I'm not coming back to debate any of it with you MAGA folks. I don't need your permission to call out Trump's deadly, incompetent ICE disaster. My words are out there, backed by facts, and I'm standing by them while you're still buying his winning merch. This video was made with AI, but it has been written by Santiago D.C. Maria. Santiago del Carmen Maria, Crowning Thoughts, copyright 2025 independent writer, Crowning Thoughts truth speaker, AI video content creator, writer, blogger, Santiago D.C. Maria. All rights reserved.